Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar not doing well amid turmoil? Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar raised 19 children, and some of them remain at home. However, some of the older kids from Counting On seem to drift away from them. So it seems that the former TLC couple isn't doing that well in the turmoil that followed the conviction of Josh Duggar. Keep reading to find out more. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar drift away from kids? Jill Duggar Dillard wrote about the disadvantages of living with a family that came with so many rules. It's not a secret that for years, she and her parents experienced some estrangement. Additionally, she claimed some aggression that shocked a lot of people. Of course, she also participated in Shiny Happy People, Duggar Family Secrets. And her dad didn't seem happy about that. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar also faced some scrutiny after Jinger Duggar Vuolo wrote her first book, Becoming Free Indeed, that aimed at the way the kids were raised under the rules of the Institute in Basic Life Principles. Although she wasn't as critical of her mom and dad, the Counting On alum did seem to feel disappointed in their parenting choices. Are others in the family feeling the same way? Read on to find out. TLC parents isolated by older Counting On kids? For some time, TLC fans wondered if some of the other adult children secretly admired their sisters for speaking out. Of course, it's hard to tell, as so few of them seem willing to discuss the family. Now, it seems that Jill and Jinger are not alone in rethinking their lives. Even though Jinger and Jill are the only two that have been really vocal about their anger toward their parents, it's clear there are plenty of others in the family who aren't too happy. They've tried to live righteously, and they're being kicked to the curb and are feeling isolated and stressed. It's not clear how the adult kids from the TLC family really feel about the way their parents dealt with Josh Duggar. Twice, he was responsible for them losing their TV show. Additionally, his crimes certainly don't speak of perfect parenting. While chatter about Josh dies down, perhaps the adult children start leaning away from perceived leniency on Josh when he was young. What are your thoughts about what the source claimed? Do you believe that Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar are being pushed away by other adult kids in the family? Shout out in the comments below, and come back here often for all your Counting On news. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar not doing well amid turmoil? The Duggar family, once the embodiment of conservative values and close-knit family dynamics, has found itself at the center of intense public scrutiny and turmoil in recent years. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, the patriarch and matriarch of the large Arkansas-based family, rose to fame through their reality TV show 19 Kids and Counting, which showcased their daily lives and unique approach to raising their ever-growing brood of children. For years, they were lauded for their traditional Christian values, including their homeschooling practices, modesty standards, and reliance on faith to guide their family life. However, as the years have passed, the once idyllic image of the Duggars has been challenged by numerous controversies, scandals, and fractures within the family. Now, with the public watching closely, there are growing concerns that Jim Bob and Michelle themselves are not faring well amid the continued strain and upheaval. A family in crisis, the turmoil for the Duggar family has its roots in the various scandals that have plagued them over the last decade. The most significant and publicized of these issues came in 2015 when it was revealed that their eldest son, Josh Duggar, had molested several young girls, including some of his sisters, when he was a teenager. The scandal led to the abrupt cancellation of 19 Kids and Counting and sent shockwaves through the family's devout fan base. The Duggars, who had built their reputation on being a moral, faith-driven family, found themselves at the center of a deeply unsettling narrative that challenged the image they had long projected. In the wake of the revelations, Jim Bob and Michelle publicly addressed the scandal, expressing their sadness and disappointment while maintaining their belief in forgiveness and redemption. Yet, the damage was done. The Duggars' name became synonymous with the scandal, and for many, their credibility as moral leaders was forever tainted. In the years that followed, Josh Duggar's legal troubles only worsened. In 2021, he was arrested and later convicted on charges related to child pornography, leading to a 12-year prison sentence. This marked a devastating chapter for the family, particularly Jim, Bob, and Michelle, who had long stood by their son. For many parents, grappling with the consequences of a child's actions can be emotionally taxing, but for Jim, Bob, and Michelle, the stakes were higher due to the public nature of their lives. strain on Jim Bob and Michelle as the fallout from Josh's actions continues to reverberate. There are increasing signs that Jim Bob and Michelle's once solid foundation may be cracking under the strain. The stress of legal battles, public scrutiny, and the disillusionment of their fan base would be enough to challenge even the strongest of relationships. Additionally, the growing independence and public voices of their adult children have led to new tensions within the family. In recent years, several of the Duggar children have distanced themselves from their parents' ultra-conservative views and lifestyle. Some, like Jill Duggar Dillard, have openly criticized their upbringing and their parents' handling of family matters. Jill, who was one of the sisters affected by Josh's past actions, has publicly discussed her strained relationship with her parents, particularly her father. She has revealed in interviews and in her memoir, Counting the Cost, how she and her husband, Derek Dillard, have had to set boundaries with Jim Bob and Michelle to protect their own family and mental health. The rift between Jill and her parents, especially her father, has been a source of significant emotional turmoil for the family. For Jim Bob, who has always prided himself on being the head of the household and guiding his children with a firm but loving hand, the idea of losing control over his adult children has likely been a difficult pill to swallow. Michelle, too, has struggled with the evolving dynamics within her family, as the nurturing mother of 19 has seen some of her children make choices that diverge from the values she instilled in them. Public perception and pressure. Another layer of stress for Jim Bob and Michelle comes from the public's shifting perception of them. In the early years of 19 Kids and Counting, they were largely seen as a model family. However, as scandals and controversies have come to light, the narrative has changed. Many now view them with suspicion or even contempt, questioning how much they knew about Josh's behavior and how they handled the situation. Critics have accused them of prioritizing their family's public image over the well-being of their children, particularly their daughters, who were victims of Josh's actions. The pressure of maintaining a public persona while dealing with private family strife cannot be underestimated. Jim Bob, in particular, has always been deeply invested in the Duggar brand, which includes not only their TV show, but also books, speaking engagements, and their status as influencers within the Christian homeschooling community. As their reputation has faltered, so too has their influence, and this loss of control over their public image may be contributing to their current struggles. A future in question as the Duggar family continues to navigate its way through these turbulent times, the question remains: how will Jim, Bob, and Michelle move forward? For a couple that has long relied on their faith to guide them, they are undoubtedly facing one of the most challenging seasons of their lives. With Josh's continued legal troubles, fractured relationships with some of their children, and a tarnished public image, it seems that the pressures may be taking a toll on their well-being. While the future is uncertain, what is clear is that the once unbreakable Duggar family is now grappling with deep divisions, both within their household and in the court of public opinion. Jim Bob and Michelle, who have long served as the pillars of their family, now face the difficult task of holding everything together amid the turmoil. Only time will tell if they can weather the storm and find a way forward, or if the fractures that have emerged will continue to deepen.